Hey everyone, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to my channel and a very belated Happy New Year. Happy 2020 to everyone. In today's video, I really want to talk a little bit about goal setting and like learning how to manage goals. I wanted to talk a little bit about this because today is January 24th. It's like the end of January right now. And for a lot of people, myself included, this would be about the time that New Year's resolutions kind of start to go off the rails. Like I feel like everyone talks about like all of the goal setting at the beginning of January, but then people kind of stop talking about it when the end of January comes and people kind of start to fall out of the habit of things. I personally don't think New Year's resolutions really work anyways. I think they put too much pressure on people. I think there's a weird stigma about them. And honestly, I know for a fact like a really, really huge proportion of people drop off of their New Year's resolutions relatively quickly, probably because of that weird pressure. So I don't really like those. And this is the first year that I really set like a hard and fast rule for myself that like, okay, no New Year's resolutions. Instead, let's think about goal setting and like how to manage goals in a way that's realistic and in a way that you can like change your habits from day to day to actually make changes that you want to see in the long run. So I sat down and kind of examined that for a long time and I want to talk about it. I think in the beginning, it's really, really important to examine like why you're setting goals to begin with and really set goals based on your own needs. And what I mean by that is don't set your goals based on what you see on social media or what your friends are doing or what people are telling you that you need to do. Really set goals based on what you want and what you need in your life, because we should be setting goals that make our lives better or easier or more fulfilling, not that are going to look good on Instagram or are going to please people, because then you're ultimately not doing it for yourself. And from experience, if you spend a lot of your time trying to do things to please other people, it's gonna burn you out. It's going to be really, really depressing after a while because you're not living kind of for yourself. And I'm not saying like be selfish, only live for yourself, don't think about anyone else. Like that's obviously everything that I say has parameters to it and has exceptions and things like that. But I'm just saying as a whole, it's really important to kind of examine what you want and kind of why you're doing it. The next really, really important thing is be really reasonable with your goals and start small. I know some people love to just like jump head first into new things. You know, they get really into exercising, for example, and they buy brand new, super expensive yoga pants and a gym membership and a hydro flask and like all that stuff. And for some people, maybe that works, but for other people, it totally doesn't work and you end up spending a lot of money on stuff that you don't end up sticking with because you focused way more on buying all this expensive stuff than setting like a reasonable gym schedule or starting it out with workouts that don't, make you want to pass out every time you do them. So it's okay to not like dive headfirst into a complete lifestyle change. Like that's such a jarring thing to do, to just like absolutely shake everything up all at once. Most people can't adjust to it that quickly. And personally, I feel like people are more successful in making changes and like, changing their habits when they introduce them slowly and make them just a normal part of their life instead of being like, well, this is me now. But start small, and that goes for like literally everything. So if you decide that you want to be a better artist, don't say I'm gonna go spend $500 on art supplies and I'm going to draw 5 drawings every single day and I'm gonna write an entire comic book and illustrate it like in 6 months, and then I'm gonna go to art school immediately. Like that's a lot of stuff to put on your plate right away. If you want to improve, you really could just start with like a little bit of sketching every day or even every other day. Or one of the habits you might want to form is carry a sketchbook with you everywhere that you go. So that way, if you have, like 10 minutes to kill while you're waiting at the DMV, who are we kidding? That would be like an hour and a half if you're waiting at the DMV. You can sit and draw for a little bit. So think about like little ways you can incorporate the changes that you want without completely just making your life difficult. Something else that I realized I need to do more personally is determine what my habit forming needs are. Sorry if I'm looking down, by the way, looking at my notes, and I have to kind of look really closely. I'm not wearing my glasses right now. Determine what your habit forming needs are, and then determine what kind of structure works best for you. And this is where I jump in again and reiterate that everyone is different and everyone has their own way of doing things. I personally really, really enjoy having structure. So when I want to do something and be productive with it. I do really well when I have like a really intense planner, and I like to make to-do lists, and I like to know exactly what I'm doing all the time. I will plan my weeks out, I will plan my days out, because that makes me feel better. It makes me feel in control. And then when I can check stuff off my to-do list, I feel really good about it. So that works for me. And that kind of structure works really well for me. But the thing is, that's not true for everyone. Some people feel way better just kind of going with the flow and being like, I feel inspired today, so today I'm gonna play music, or today I'm gonna paint. And that is 100% okay. Like, there is no reason to live your life the exact same way as someone else just because they make it look good or they make it look easy. This kind of should go without saying, but I feel like it's important to reiterate this for people, and also to incorporate this into your own self-talk and the way you kind of like view yourself. But don't focus on the things that you haven't accomplished. Like, focus on the stuff that you have done, because it's really easy to be like, oh, all this time has passed and I'm not like an amazing illustrator yet. But it's like, that's such a high standard if you just started drawing, like 2 months ago. Instead, look at your sketchbook from the beginning of last year to the beginning of this year and see the progress that you've made. Or even for like day-to-day stuff, this doesn't even have to be for like complete lifestyle changes. It could be like, oh man, like I have all this stuff I have to do around the house still, but it's like, but I already vacuumed and I already like cleaned the bathroom. Like, that's stuff that you've done, because it's so easy to just focus on the stuff that needs to be done still, or the stuff that you feel like you didn't do well enough or haven't done yet. And it's really easy to not give yourself credit for what you have done. So think about the stuff that you have accomplished. And the last thing, which I think ties into that last part, but is super duper important, is to please be forgiving of yourself. So many people, and I've talked about this like a million times, so many people are so hard on themselves all the time. I still see it all the time. It's okay to feel like you've made mistakes. It's okay to feel like you've backslid a little bit with your goals. It's okay that you didn't meet them 100% right away. Like, that is okay. We're humans. What we want is constantly evolving. Life happens in a way we can't control, so sometimes stuff gets in the way. All of that is okay, and it is all okay to forgive. Like, it is okay to be kind to yourself. And I don't understand why more people don't talk about that, because that is such like a normal thing, is for life to just happen not the way we expect it to. Like, it's okay to forgive yourself for that. You can forgive yourself for not being perfect and for not doing it right away. Like, imperfectionism is something that's really hard to get out of if that's the type of person you are. And I personally am a perfectionist. And for me, my brand of coping with perfectionism stems from these really awful habits I developed, where I would try to start something new or pick up a new hobby, and if I wasn't like instantly good at it, I was like mad and embarrassed and would just like completely drop it and be like, nah, I can't do this. Case in point, 3-ish years ago, I was like, I want to learn how to play music. So I bought a ukulele just like on impulse, and I tried to play it, and I immediately like hit a roadblock because I tried to tune it and like didn't know how to tune it correctly, because I was trying to do it by ear, which is so not necessary. And I was like, this is too difficult. And it literally sat in a corner for like a year and a half. And then at that point I was like, you're being silly. So I went and just bought a ukulele tuner and tuned it. It took like 2 seconds. And then I tried to start to learn chords, and I was like, this is too difficult. And it went back into that corner for a year and a half. And then, this past week, I was like, this is silly. And for me, I get to that point of like, you're being ridiculous. Just pick it up. It's not going to hurt you. And I sat and pulled up a video on YouTube, and I was like, let's learn something really simple. And lo and behold, I was able to learn like the first half of a song in a couple of hours. And it wasn't that big of a deal that it wasn't perfect, because I was like, oh, now I feel really good that I've accomplished something. And you can stop like hating yourself, because it's not the end of the world if you're not perfect at it right away. It is okay not to be perfect. I feel like everyone wants to do things because they want to be really, really good at it right away. And that, I feel like, comes from the fact that 99% of the time, when people do something that is a hobby or something that's kind of fun or something kind of creative, you inevitably go to this place where you feel like you have to be really, really good at it so you can like monetize it or show it off, or have it be a thing that has like, I don't know, like a value to it that other people can recognize. And that is such a toxic way to think, because you don't have to be so good at something that you can monetize it. You don't have to be so good at something that other people are impressed by it. You can just do something because it makes you feel good and because it makes you happy. that should be why you do it. And I think that's like such an important thing to think about too. Like, you should be doing things that make you happy and that are fun for you. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about it. If it's something that you've wanted to do for a long time and you're willing to put time and effort into, then put your time towards that, put yourself into that. It doesn't have to be what everyone else likes. It doesn't have to be the norm. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have stuff done by a certain age. You can just do what you want to do and enjoy it for the sake of happiness and enjoy it for the sake of how it makes you feel, presuming it makes you feel positive. So at the end of the day, if something makes you happy, it is worth your time and effort, even if it seems difficult, even if you're scared, even if you're worried that other people might not think you're good. If it makes you happy, then that's worth your time. And honestly, like, let go of this pressure of I need to be ready to start something new. If you want to try something, just do it. Chances are you're not going to be a prodigy. You're not going to be perfect at it right away, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So don't spend your time waiting to be ready. Don't spend your time worrying what other people are going to think. You can do it in private. You don't have to brag about it on the internet, but you can just decide, this is a thing I want to put my time towards, and just try it and see if it makes you feel good and go from there. There is no right or wrong way to do any of this. If something feels good and you want to be impulsive about it, like, that is okay too. Like, if you want to, I don't know, decide that you want to suddenly be really good at roller skating and decide to buy a pair of roller skates in the middle of the night and then roll around your house in them, maybe go ahead and do that if that's a thing that makes you happy. Not that I did that. I feel like a lot of times when I do these videos, part of it is me literally just talking to myself because I feel like I need to remind myself that. But in my experience, a lot of people feel the same way I do about setting goals, which is that they're scary, and if you're not good at something right away, it's just too embarrassing and just like, don't do it. So if I can help like one other person realize that's not true, like, cool, then this video was helpful and this video is for you. So I hope that was useful to some of you guys. I also hope you guys are having a pretty good 2020 so far. I can't complain about mine, so I hope you guys can say the same. I know I've said this like a million times, but I will have new videos up soon. Small life update. I got a new job back in September and it is a very good job, but it is part-time, which is amazing. So I actually have, set hours during the week, and I have several days off where I can work on personal projects, which means I actually have a little bit of time for personal stuff now. Now that everything has settled and all of the stuff that was on my plate is kind of taken care of now, I can actually focus on creating content that I want to focus on, which is awesome. But anyways, that's it. I hope that was helpful to some of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and like it. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. That would be super cool. You can see more of my artwork on my Instagram and Facebook, as well as on like my Redbubble and stuff. You can check all of that good stuff down below. And until my next video, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.